Coming up, a water tower malfunctions in Manatee County, what crews say led to that massive leak. Plus, March for Our Lives advocates in Sarasota County today, where they plan to speak on gun control. And a Longboat Key restaurant is knocked down, what makes the demolition challenging. Your Suncoast News starts now.
You're watching ABC 7 News at noon.
Hello and welcome. I'm Scott Dennis. Thanks so much for joining us. We begin with an update into what caused a massive leak at a Bradenton water tower overnight. ABC 7's Marla Spence joins us from the tower on 6th Avenue West, right across from the Manatee County School District headquarters.
Overnight, gallons of water spewed out of this water tower in Bradenton. The manager for the city of Bradenton's water plant, Tom Meter, says a malfunction caused the massive water leak. Take a look. This is what the tower looks like about 10:40 last night. Meter says a valve that closes when pressure gets to a certain point did not close, causing gallons of water to spew out the tower. After the call came into the water plant before 11 last night, water to the tower was shut off within a half hour. Metter says this is a rare incident and tower water leaks usually don't happen. He could not confirm how many gallons of water was lost, but did say it did not impact any businesses, residents, or homeowners in Manatee County. I'm Marla Spence reporting in Bradenton for ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
All right, Marla, thank you. In Northport, an update from police who say they've caught a man wanted for attempted murder. Police say Sarasota County Sheriff's deputies helped them find Kedrick Johnson, who was taken into custody in Miami thanks to the Fugitive Apprehension Unit working with U.S. Marshals. There's no word yet on when Johnson will make a first court appearance. A new elementary school in Parrish now has a new name. Manatee County School Board naming the school after legendary educator Barbara Harvey. After considering 250 names, Harvey came out on top. Many of the lives Harvey has touched over her decades in education packed the school board room last night, or an overflow room as well, to hear the big announcement. Harvey says she is honored by this recognition.
Was not in my playbook to have a school named after me. I did not do what I did for that, but God has a way to just pour out his blessings.
The new Barbara A. Harvey Elementary School will sit on 20 acres on Moccasin Wallow Road and 115th Avenue East in Parrish, and it's set to open in August of 2019. School board also naming a new principal for Palmetto's Palmview Elementary. Kathia Johnson chosen to lead the school. Johnson will place Angela Essig, who retired at the end of last school year. Johnson will officially take over at the school on July 9th. And the Manatee County School Board also approving a contract for the district's interim superintendent. The board voting 4-1 in favor of the contract for Cynthia Saunders. The deputy superintendent of instruction will take over on an interim basis following the departure of Diana Green, who's leaving at the end of this month for Duval County. The exact salary and details of the contract have not been released.
I know that she will provide the leadership and the support for our employees that's needed right now.
Saunders is expected to sign the contract soon. She has to be in place as interim superintendent by July 1st. The Florida Coalition of School Board Members is calling for an investigation on school grades in Manatee County. That group says it noticed grade inflation in Manatee and 2 other districts in the state. The group is chaired by Sarasota County School Board Chairwoman Bridget Ziegler. She's asking the state to delay the release of grades for middle schools in certain counties, including Manatee, Duval, and Polk counties. The report found those districts made some dramatic improvements in their passing rates on middle school civics tests. The data also shows a dramatic decline in the number of students who took the tests. No word yet on what the coalition is planning to do next. Happening tonight, students from Stoneman Douglas High School will be in downtown Sarasota. Their March for Our Lives tour is stopping at the Selby Library from 5:30 to 7:30 this evening. Students, city officials, and organizers will discuss gun laws and gun reform. You can also register to vote before a live panel discussion. New at noon, demolition is underway on a once popular waterfront restaurant on Longboat Key. Workers are knocking down Patty George's today. ABC 7's Ray Collins is just back from the site with a closer look. Ray?
Yeah, Scott, end of an era for this once high-end restaurant overlooking Sarasota Bay. We were there this morning as workers began pulling down the building. Patty George's had been there 43 years. until it closed 2 years ago. Demolition should take 2 weeks. The marketing person for the demolition team says one of the hard parts is making sure none of the debris falls into Sarasota Bay. The restaurant is right there on the water.
We have some trusted subcontractors that we've hired for this project to take all those precautions. They came out days in advance to set up to ensure that nothing would get in the water, and so we're going slow but surely to make sure that the building comes down safely and then not getting any debris in the water.
And once that debris is cleared, the Columbia Restaurant Group plans to build a new place called the Buccaneer Restaurant. Well, if that sounds familiar, that was the name of another iconic restaurant that was torn down back in 2005. The new Buccaneer Restaurant will open sometime next year. Scott?
All right. Thank you so much, Ray. A new one goes and another comes.
Spent a lot of time at that
It's a nice
restaurant.
spot, though.
Yeah, it is a great spot. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was very pretty. Favorite dish there? Do you remember? Fried lobster was mine. I love
Fried lobster?
I love the fried lobster.
Wow.
And the Vietnamese rolls. They were fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was good stuff. Anyway, it's nice. We're looking at Lakewood Ranch webcam here, showing a little bit of cloud cover that has built out there in the waters. And in fact, we have across our region some cloud cover that has led to some showers. Plenty of moisture around. Now the showers just basically exactly where you saw them on the webcam there, east of the interstate, and some of them producing just some light rain, some drizzle, a lot of it not even reaching the ground at this point. That's the kind of thing we're going to see for the next hour or so, and that's basically some light rain falling. Most of it will gradually drift east and far east, in fact, over in eastern parts of Wauchula, Hardy, and Highlands County. I think most of us will stay dry all afternoon long, and that will be at the time of maximum heating as well. So it's going to feel kind of warm and sticky this afternoon. About a 20% chance of showers. That's about it. And then we end up dry for the rest of the evening. Scott?
All right, John, thank you. New developments out of Washington. A federal judge weighing in last night, ordering border officials to reunite separated families. ABC's Janae Norman is in Washington as the House prepares to vote on a compromise immigration bill.
The border is getting some clarity on when those separated families need to be reunited. A U.S. district judge in California issuing an order to the Trump administration. Reunite all children with their families within 30 days. Return children younger than 5 to their parents within 14 days. And stop any future separations. The judge in his decision saying the unfortunate reality is that under the present system, migrant children are not accounted for with the same efficiency and accuracy as property.
We have had a high of over 2,300 children that were separated from their parents as a result of the enforcement policy. We now have 2,047. How many have been?
That's just 6 fewer than the number of children federal authorities said they had in their possession before announcing they'd reunited 500 of them. The Justice Department responding in a statement that it's even more imperative that Congress finally act to give federal law enforcement the ability to simultaneously enforce the law and keep families together. President Trump tweeting today, House Republicans should pass the strong but fair immigration bill. Even though the Dems won't let it pass in the Senate, passage will show that we want strong borders and security, while the Dems want open borders equals crime. Win.
In the 2016 elections, voters said loud and clear they wanted a lawful system of immigration that serves the national interest.
And today the House is set to vote on an immigration bill, but it's not expected to pass. So GOP leaders are already considering alternate legislation to put an end to the administration's separation policy. Janae Norman, ABC News, Washington.
Here on the Suncoast, local families are being affected by the ban. We spoke to a family from Venezuela that says they don't really know what's going to happen and when they'll see their family members again.
It's sad because, I miss them, and when they come here, like, my grandma's planning on coming for, like, Christmas and stuff, and now I don't know how this is going to affect her.
The president of the Islamic Society of Sarasota-Bradenton says some families in the congregation will likely be separated from relatives back home. Happening today, President Trump's national security advisor John Bolton is meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow. The Kremlin says the two will discuss a possible meeting next month between the two leaders. It appears that U.S. officials are eyeing sometime late July or early August for that summit. For more on the latest breaking news across the world and here at home, as well as your First Alert weather forecast, I invite you to download our app. You can find it in your app store under WWSB or My Suncoast. Still to come in your Suncoast News, how a new study suggests chronic stress could be impacting people with diabetes. And then later, panic on the tarmac at two of the nation's busiest airports. We'll show you what unfolded overnight that left passengers shaken.
When it comes to drinking, what do you think moderation is? The U.S. Dietary Guidelines define moderation as up to 1 drink a day for women and up to 2 drinks a day for men. So what's a drink? The guidelines say a drink equals 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or a cocktail with 1.5 ounces of distilled spirits. Each contains the same amount of alcohol. Like to learn more? Visit drinkinmoderation.org.
Picking out a new ceiling fan? That's a do-it-yourself. Installing your new ceiling fan?
No.
That's a don't do it yourself. For ceiling fans, rewires, or anything electrical, play it safe. And call on the trained electricians from your locally owned Mr. Sparky. It's no accident that so many of our customers are repeat customers. Trust Mr. Sparky for all your electrical repairs.
Call 888-8-SPARKY.
I am the resident district manager on the FAU campus for Chartwell. Whenever I see Haley, I do not see a person with a disability. I see a person with extraordinary abilities. Haley is always smiling. She's always on time. She gives fantastic customer service and is always focused on any job that she's given.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Florida Studio Theater presents Always Patsy Cline, extended due to popular demand. A tuneful tribute, the story of Patsy's rise to stardom is told by her biggest fan. Featuring such hit songs as Walkin' After Midnight, I Fall to Pieces, Crazy, and many more you know and love. Critics are calling Always Patsy Cline a genuine hit. Audiences are calling it outstanding. Always Patsy Cline is now playing. Tickets can be purchased at 941-366-9000 or floridastudiotheater.org.
There was this big bruise on my friend's face. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to think her own nephew could have hit her.
I didn't want to see it. My mother's bank account was emptied, and a caregiver had taken control of it.
I didn't want to see it. My father's refrigerator. There was hardly anything in it. That's unusual for him.
It's tough to see that a senior citizen is being abused, physically, emotionally, sexually, or financially. Elder abuse is a crime.
So see the signs. Stop the crimes.
The ABC7 First Alert weather app just got even better. It's easy to use once you download it. First, tell the app to follow you, so you get alerts pinpointed to exactly where you are. Then customize your settings with all the places you go, from the beach to grandmother's house. Get accurate alerts for everyone you care about. You can even pick which weather alerts and categories you want and what they sound like. More ways to customize and more ways to keep your family safe. Download the ABC7 First Alert weather app today.
Now your ABC7 First Alert weather forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
87 degrees the air temperature. It is warm out there, and it's a little on the humid side too with a 74-degree dew point, 65% relative humidity. Calm winds right now. We'll see them start to pick up out of the west, and that will carry the showers and thunderstorms into inland areas this afternoon. A lot of sunshine, some fair weather clouds as well. More clouds in inland areas than along the coast. 88 Myakka, Arcadia, 87 Wauchula, 87 Lakewood Ranch, Bradenton Parish, Sarasota, 89 degrees in Venice and 87 degrees in Inglewood. The hot spot comes in at Punta Gorda, which has 91 degrees. The cool spot, Longboat Key, coming in at 85. I think today we'll probably top it out at around 92. I think that's a good ballpark figure. We'll have about a 10% chance of showers at that point near the coast. Inland, the rain chance will be higher. You go east of the interstate into eastern parts of Hardy, DeSoto, Highlands County, I think you'll probably have more like a 40 to 50% chance of showers as the general westerly wind flow begins to develop, establish, and push the showers into those inland areas. By 7 o'clock tonight, things will be quiet. I don't expect to see too much rain shower activity really most anywhere. And then into the overnight, things look pretty good as well. By the way, speaking of overnight, tonight you'll see Saturn as close as it gets to the Earth. So the viewing should be pretty nice, actually. I think we'll have fairly clear skies during the overnight tonight. The only problem is it's low on the horizon. It's about 7 degrees above the horizon. So unless you're above the tree line, you might have a hard time seeing it. But if you are above the tree line and you have a nice view of the southern exposure, why, then you'll be able to get a pretty good picture of Mars, Venus, and the moon out there. About 10 degrees above the horizon. There are your few scattered showers, by the way, and as I mentioned, none of them really too terribly heavy. We have some running along Bee Ridge and Clark Road, heading out east toward really kind of unpopulated areas. As we look at the satellite view, you can see we're going to have plenty of sunshine around across the state of Florida. That's going to help get things going this afternoon in inland areas. But really, the chance of any kind of heavy rainfall today is basically going to be focused into inland areas this afternoon. And along the coastline, I just really don't think we're going to see much. The East Coast will be favored for showers over the course of the next several days, thanks to a westerly wind, which we'll discuss more about in the second half hour. Southwest wind turns west at about 5 this afternoon. Very light flow. Look for 2-foot seas, smooth conditions on the waters. Nice day for boating. Couple of days in the 90s with minimal chances of rainfall, mostly in inland areas. And then maybe we'll up the rain chance just a little bit on Friday as the high continues to sink a little bit further south. Moisture starts to return. And a trough of low pressure enters North Florida. Rain chances will also be up over the weekend. And by the beginning of next week, we'll trim them back down just in time for the 4th of July. Back to you.
All right, John, thank you. In Health Smart, chronic stress is never good for the body, but ABC's Janae Norman explains how a new study is showing that patients with diabetes may have a particular concern.
When the body is stressed in fight or flight mode, it releases stress hormones that allow the body to respond to emergencies. But what if the emergency happens all the time? New research is showing that these hormones can team up with white blood cells, and the combination can increase a person's chance of a heart attack. In the study, diabetic humans and mice were stressed, which caused an overproduction of white blood cells. In patients with diabetes, this can lead to a rupture of blood vessels. Diabetics are also prone to a buildup of plaque in their blood vessels, plaque that can literally clog the arteries. Both plaque and blood vessel rupture can be deadly, especially if they affect one artery in particular, the coronary artery. For diabetic patients, this is particularly important. A major cause of death for diabetics is a heart attack. Stress and white blood cells. The study may help explain why diabetics are so vulnerable to heart disease and provides a foundation for finding ways to decrease their chance of heart attacks. With this Medical Minute, I'm Janae Norman, ABC News.
The mosquito-borne Keystone virus has been detected in a person for the very first time. A teenage boy in North Florida went to an emergency care center after suffering a rash and a mild fever 2 years ago. Well, it turns out it's the first case of a human testing positive for the virus since it was discovered way back in 1964 in Keystone, which is in the Tampa Bay area. The Keystone virus has the potential to cause encephalitis. Thankfully, the teen affected has not suffered any brain swelling. Happening today, this is National HIV Testing Day. The Community Health Education and Prevention Team will be giving free HIV tests in the Walgreens parking lot at the corner of 17th Street and Lockwood Ridge Road in Sarasota today. You can be tested anytime now until 7 p.m. All right, time for lunch. Let's get over to the kitchen and say hello to Culinary Director Judy Gallagher and find out what she's preparing today. Hi, Judy.
Hi there, Scott. A simple trip to Yoder's Produce is all I needed for today's ingredients. I found the patty pan squash, baby eggplants, and Shishitsu peppers. Now remember, 1 in 10 Shishitsu peppers are a bit hot. They're a Thai pepper and they're almost always mild. My guess is John Scalzi may hit the hot one. But I'm gonna roast up some simple fresh vegetables and baby eggplant in the oven at 400 degrees, get that started. And when we come back, we'll be toasting up fennel seeds and making a really creamy fresh pasta I think you'll really enjoy for the hot weather.
Choral Artists of Sarasota presents Patriotic Spectacular July 4th, 4:30 p.m. at First Church, Sarasota. Choral Artists of Sarasota's annual Independence Day celebration features traditional patriotic favorites, plus a choral salute to the 100th anniversary of Leonard Bernstein, and a tribute to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. narrated by Nate Jacobs. Come for the concert and stay for the fireworks over Sarasota Bay. Tickets at choralartistsarasota.org or by calling 941-387-4900.
You now have the power to prioritize your Facebook feed and get local news and information from the team you trust. Go to the ABC7 Sarasota page on Facebook. Give us a like, then click following and choose See First. That's it. Customize even more by choosing notifications. Choose breaking news, posts, live videos, anything you want to see in real time. Take control of your newsfeed and stay connected to what's happening in your community with ABC7 on Facebook.
I used to dread getting up and going to work.
I was done with the corporate grind.
I was tired of being a starving artist.
And I started looking around for a business that I believed in, and I kind of wanted to do something a little more green.
My SCORE mentor helped me take the first step.
He helped me create a business plan and helped me implement it.
They've really taught me how to think big.
SCORE helped me to make the unimaginable possible, all for free. I'm here because of SCORE.
I'm here because of SCORE.
Get your free business mentor at SCORE.org.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future. Because while many doors open, these doors transform. They did for us. Support your local Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
We're losing exotic animals on a daily basis, and the ones that we have in captivity are really the ambassadors for their wild counterparts. I'm Clayton Rozier from the Big Cat Habitat and Gulf Coast Sanctuary, housing over 150 exotic animals that needed a great home. And if you love animals, please help them. Do it locally. Support your local no-kill shelters, your local wild animal sanctuaries. Make a difference where you can.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Yeah, I have questions.
Prescription drugs aren't as bad as street drugs, right?
Weed's legal, isn't it?
Drinking is worse than smoking weed.
Isn't it? Why
is heroin so addictive?
Molly just makes you feel happy.
I have questions.
Mom?
Dad, did you ever try drugs?
They're going to ask. Be ready. Go to drugfree.org. A message from Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Caught on camera some scary moments on two tarmacs overnight. ABC's Gio Benitez is at JFK Airport in New York with more on the wild scene there and what we're learning about the man who jumped onto the wing of a plane in Atlanta.
Overnight, the FBI swarming the tarmac at JFK after a hijacking scare.
I counted 20 emergency vehicles, red lights, blue lights. It was really scary.
After a radio issue on JetBlue Flight 1623 caused pilots to lose contact with the tower for 10 minutes, the radio silence triggering the hijacking false alarm. Police and FBI agents surrounding the plane, passengers seen with hands in the air. JetBlue releasing a statement saying that while communication was reestablished via alternative channels, authorities responded in an abundance of caution.
What is he doing?
And in Atlanta overnight, authorities racing onto the tarmac after this.
There's somebody running around the airport, stand by.
A half-naked man scaling the fence surrounding Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, causing chaos for alarmed passengers on board a Delta flight that had just landed from Miami.
Do you have a person on foot? In fact, he's on the runway.
The man, now identified as 19-year-old Jarin Jones, jumping onto the wing of the plane and then pounding on the windows. Here you can see Jones sitting underneath the wing of the plane. Authorities quickly moving in and surrounding him, placing him under arrest.
I'm concerned about his safety, wanting to just make sure that this individual gets help because clearly he wasn't in what I guess we would consider your right mind.
And we're told that 19-year-old may suffer from mental illness, but still, he's facing a slew of charges. As for that incident here at JFK, we're told the FAA is now investigating. Gio Benitez, ABC News, New York.
All right, back to the kitchen now. Check in again with Judy Gallagher and see how lunch is coming. Judy?
Well, thanks, Scott. So I have the first of the vegetables roasting. Baby eggplant, the peppers. We have the shishito peppers. Hopefully there aren't more than one or two spicy ones in there. Now we're going to start the base of the pasta dish. So I just cooked up some pappardelle pasta. Here's a cheat. If you want to do one-stop shopping and you can't find the pasta that you want, go with something that's similar, wide egg noodles. They may not be as long, but they're really going to work just as well. So that's a thought as well. So I have a little olive oil, about a tablespoon of good quality olive oil, and I'm going to add about a tablespoon of fennel seeds. I'm going to let that pop a little bit. This is a great tip if you're making bruschetta at home, so you can dice the tomatoes and maybe a little red onion to pop it, put it on the crostini, but the big thing is to have the toasted fennel seed. It really does make it pop. So now that it's in, we're gonna season the bottom of the pan with some salt, because this is all gonna blend in, and pepper, and of course we'll go back and readjust the seasoning several times. Just as we start to see the fennel is gonna start popping in that oil, so it's infusing that oil. Gonna add just a teeny bit more oil to really get that infusion going. Now we're gonna add garlic, but I don't want the garlic to cook too much. So what I'm gonna do is, I have about 1 or 2 cloves of garlic in there. Probably 2 knowing me, because I just love garlic. Let's take a peek at the oven, see how the vegetables are roasting, because you don't need to do them all the way through. A great tip is if you're having kebabs this weekend or for the July 4th holiday, you can save some of the leftover vegetables. So the peppers are really roasting nicely. The eggplant, what I did was I put salt on the eggplant, even the baby eggplant, for about 10 minutes just to make that a little more tender. It'll draw out some moisture. So now we've got this started. Now we're going to go with our next layers. So I have some red chard. It kind of looks like rhubarb, and we're going to just put some shallots in there. Let that start to cook, and when I come back, I'm going to add the pasta, some more seasoning, and then let's add a little cheese and cream to this baby, okay?
You want a Maserati, but you need an SUV. Why not have both? Levante, the Maserati of SUVs.
Experience it at Sunset Maserati Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
My name is Julius. I have cerebral palsy. I work for Farmer Jeffrey Weising Law Firm. I do a lot of data entry and scanning documents. I want to increase my working experience to make the company much better. At the end of the day, it's good to think of the day's work and to think about what I have accomplished.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to abilitieswork.employflorida.com.
If you're looking for the perfect trip that allows you to spend quality time with a family, then discover the great outdoors on an Alabama Black Belt adventure. Create unforgettable memories while hunting, fishing, or biking and hiking. Or play the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, now celebrating 25 years. And while you're here, enjoy the flavors of the Black Belt. Book your adventure at our lodges or stay in the Renaissance Montgomery Hotel and Spa. Start planning an Alabama Black Belt adventure today.
Selfless service is the principle that guides Army National Guard soldiers to be ready whenever disaster strikes. They have a stake in the well-being of the neighborhoods where they live and work. They train part-time to be ready to serve at all times. Selfless service. It's what inspires the men and women of the Army National Guard to be part of something greater than themselves. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more.
We've all heard how military veterans adjusting to the civilian world may have certain issues.
30. 70.
If only everyone had this issue. No matter what challenge they face, Easter Seals is here for America's veterans.
Coast Guard, we are taking on water.
The United States Coast Guard. They secure our ports and waterways, protect our environment, keep drugs away from our kids, and save lives. It's dangerous work. And in times of triumph or tragedy, the Coast Guard Foundation answers the call to support Coast Guard members and their families. Learn more at coastguardfoundation.org.
Coming up, a police officer charged with criminal homicide. What could be next in the shooting death of a Pittsburgh teen? Plus, a major upset in the New York State primary, why a 28-year-old activist could soon be one of the newest members of Congress. And the Suncoast comes together for a good cause, how kids and young adults with special needs will be treated to a day of fishing.
You're watching ABC 7 News at 12:30.
Welcome back. Our top story at 12:30, new developments out of Pennsylvania, where charges have been filed against the officer involved in a police shooting death of 17-year-old Antoine Rose. ABC's Maggie Rulli has the latest.
After days of protests over the shooting death of unarmed teen Antoine Rose, charges have been filed against the East Pittsburgh police officer who pulled the trigger.
There's no weapon that would have created a risk to Officer Rossfeld. Antoine Rose didn't do anything in North Braddock other than be in that vehicle.
Michael Rossfeld, who had only been on the job with this department for 3 weeks, now faces a possible life sentence in prison.
I find that Rossfeld's actions were intentional, and they certainly brought about the result that he was looking to accomplish.
Rose's family grieving the loss of their son in this exclusive interview with ABC News.
That was my baby.
Now saying in a statement from their attorney that they view these charges with guarded optimism, saying there is a long road ahead to a conviction and proper sentencing, which is the only thing we will accept as justice. Rossfeld fatally shot their 17-year-old son as he was running away from a traffic stop on the night of June 19th. Investigators say that Rose and 2 others were pulled over in a car that police believed was connected to a shooting that happened earlier the same night. At least one person inside the car has been charged. Police say they found 2 guns in the vehicle after Antoine was shot and an empty gun clip in his pocket. Rossfeld has now been released on bail, and so far his attorney has declined all of ABC's request for a comment. Maggie Rulli, ABC News, New York.
Overnight, a major political upset in a New York State primary. Progressive activist Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez winning the 14th district, beating 10-term Congressman Joe Crowley in her first campaign. The 28-year-old is a member of the Democratic Socialist of America. Crowley was the 4th-ranked Democrat in the House and raised 10 times the amount of money as Ocasio. This is the first time in nearly 15 years that a Democrat tried to oust Crowley. And Chelsea Manning has come up short in her run for a U.S. Senate seat in Maryland. Manning losing to incumbent Democratic Senator Ben Cardin, who is seeking a 3rd term in the Senate. The 30-year-old former Army intelligence analyst was convicted in 2013 of disclosing classified information to WikiLeaks. Manning came out as transgender after the sentencing and changed her first name to Chelsea. In 2017, President Obama commuted Manning's 35-year sentence, and she was released from prison. House Intelligence Chairman Devin Nunes wants more Russia-related information. The Republican from California issuing a new request for any contacts between intelligence sources in the FBI and the Trump 2016 election team. Among those Nunes is interested in Michael Cohen, Corey Lewandowski, and Donald Trump Jr. The Justice Department told Nunes on Monday he already had sufficient information about whether the FBI had informants that were against then-candidate Trump. Happening today, the FBI agent who sent anti-Trump texts during the campaign is set to be grilled out by lawmakers on Capitol Hill. Peter Strzok will voluntarily testify before the House Judiciary and Oversight Committees as part of their joint investigation into the FBI's actions regarding Hillary Clinton and Russia. Strzok worked on both the Russia and Clinton email investigation and was a subject in the recent DOJ's Inspector General report. Now Strzok says he wants his chance to tell his side of the story. Just a few days after being asked to leave a Virginia restaurant, White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders is getting more security. Sources say as soon as today, she could be under Secret Service protection. Sanders has not responded to a possible change in security protocol. Over the weekend, she was asked to leave the Red Hen restaurant in Lexington, Virginia, because of her affiliation with the Trump administration. Time to get a check on our forecast now with meteorologist John Scalzi, and a little drier. We've got that change again in our winds, which keeps the showers away from the coast a little bit.
Right, but it's still really humid.
Yeah.
It brings in the humidity.
It does.
It feels really sticky. Heat indexes today 100, 105, so yeah, it feels pretty rough out there. I'll take the cooling showers any day of the week.
I tell you, my time outside is going from air conditioning to my car.
And in that time, you break into a sweat.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's rough going for the next couple of days in terms of any kind of nature's air conditioning. We're not going to get too many of those showers around. Right now, we're looking at a Case Key webcam. Watch what happens as we put the time lapse into motion. And the clouds that we had around for a time this morning kind of go away. And that's because high pressure builds in. We get a very light westerly flow. Look at that water. It's like glass out there. It's just absolutely spectacular boating weather, I would think. A few scattered showers about, but most of them pretty light. Nothing really heavy, no thunderstorms in progress currently, and only light stuff now east of the interstate. I mean, really a lot of that not even reaching the ground. So as we progress into the afternoon, I think we'll see the number of showers build, but it'll be in inland areas. Lots of sunshine, boosting our temperatures up to about 92 this afternoon, and the rain chance pretty minimal, really. As we head into the afternoon, most of the rains will be well inland. Complete forecast coming up in a few.
Thank you, John. Happening across the state, a new law going into effect next week will change the way juvenile detention programs work in Florida. The new civil citations program will require pre-arrest diversion programs to be created for underage kids who break the law. Advocates hope this will help correct kids' behavior without sending them behind bars.
Arrest, and we use kind of like the adult sanctions and the adult processes that we normally use for adults. We saddle youth with an arrest record which can follow them through their lives and have a negative impact on their ability to, earn a living.
The citations will be issued for common misbehaviors, things like fighting, minor drug and alcohol offenses, and petty theft. Closer to home, scientists at Mote Marine Lab are looking for solutions to help people who are affected by red tide. This week, they're starting a research project that'll test whether filter feeding animals and seaweed can help lower the effects of red tide. Mote marine scientists are growing filter feeding organisms on an artificial reef that can float underneath docks. If this project is successful, they want to transform it into a community outreach initiative and then teach people who live along canals how to build their own artificial reefs to potentially alleviate some of the red tide effects. Sounds promising. One of the premier events of the Sarasota Powerboat Grand Prix Festival happening today on Sarasota Bay. The 34th annual Friendliest Catch Fishing Tourney welcomed kids and young adults of all ages with special needs onto boats for a few hours of fishing. Volunteers say smiles on the kids' faces are worth all of the hard work that makes this event happen.
We have probably 70% of our kids are, come every year and look forward to this every year and have made friends while they're here that look forward to seeing each other. And then we always end up with some new kids that find their way to us, and, we look forward to it, and we welcome new people every year.
Well, the boat should just be getting back to shore, and now the kids and their families will get to enjoy a free barbecue lunch and trophies to take home as well. An ABC 7 viewer sent us this video of a manatee and its calf hanging out near her home. Alyssa Gore lives in Nokomis and says her family recently found out that they have some new neighbors. She says the manatee and her calf have been seen often by their boat. If you take some great pictures or video of animals and sea life that we have here on the Suncoast, please share them with us. Email them to pics@mysuncoast.com. All right, back to the kitchen and check in again with Judy Gallagher. Hi, Judy.
Hey there. So I put the tomatoes, those delicious organic varietal tomatoes, in the oven just for about 2 minutes, little olive oil, little salt and pepper. Now let's get back to the pan. We have the peppers have married in there and the Swiss chard. It's really going to be a burst of flavor. I'm going to take a little chicken stock just to keep it some moisture, and we can use less cream then. And then I'm going to add about a half a cup of half and half. Now obviously you can use heavy cream that's going to make it a nice dense rich sauce, but I had half and half in the house, so that's what I'm going to use. So similar in Alfredo in that we have a little butter, a little cream, and yes, we're going to have Parmesan. So let's do some Parmesan here. And then let's add the cooked pasta, right like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to simmer this just for about 3 minutes because the pasta is cooked al dente, so you want it to absorb that little bit of broth and the cream. Do a little more pasta. Now, this is a great time to add the spinach because you just want to use spinach very liberally. Spinach is going to absorb the seasoning, so be a little careful with that. Let's take the tomatoes out. They're just starting to warm up, so when they hit the pan, they'll probably burst. And don't be afraid to experiment with your seasoning. Even though this particular seasoning says Coastal Blend, I find it delicious for pasta, so you don't have to just use it for seafood. So here we go. It is coming out beautiful. I'm going to give it another hit of some black pepper and some salt. When I bring it to the bowl, I'm going to add some broken up fresh mint leaves, a little more Parmesan on top, so we can say we had our vegetables and we ate them too. We'll be back for a taste in just a few minutes.
Picking out a new ceiling fan? That's a do-it-yourself. Installing your new ceiling fan?
No.
That's a don't do it yourself. For ceiling fans, rewires, or anything electrical, play it safe. And call on the trained electricians from your locally owned Mr. Sparky. It's no accident that so many of our customers are repeat customers. Trust Mr. Sparky for all your electrical repairs.
Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Soldiers in the Army National Guard live up to a set of time-honored principles.
I will always place the mission first.
They stand ready to respond to any crisis.
I will never accept defeat.
They serve in their communities as citizens and as soldiers.
I will never quit.
They train part-time to be ready to serve at all times.
I will never leave a fallen comrade.
Learn more at nationalguard.com.
My name is Stephen Jaffe. The law firm's name is Farmer Jaffe. One of the beautiful things about Julius is he's always smiling, and it becomes infectious. The fact that Julius has a disability has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of work that he's done. Just a great person you want on your staff.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Get more for your money at Sunset Subaru in Sarasota. Subaru vehicles hold their value better than any other brand for 2018, according to ALG. And Subaru is Kelley Blue Book's most trusted brand for 4 years running. The Subaru Impreza is an IIHS top safety pick for 11 years running. Lease a new Subaru Impreza today for just $155 a month. Or get 0% financing with zero down. Get more for your money. Go to Sunset Subaru in Sarasota.
This is the story of a boy who was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help. And slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Are you a soccer mom or dad? Regardless of their age or experience level, when your kids play soccer or any other sport, there's one person on the sideline who is key to help recognize and seek medical care for sports-related concussion. It's you. You need to know the signs and symptoms of concussion, and you need to act if you think your child has been injured. Remember, when in doubt, sit them out. To learn more, go to cdc.gov/concussion. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004.
Now your ABC 7 First Alert Weather Forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
87 degrees the air temperature, plenty of sunshine boosting our temperatures pretty rapidly today. We're pretty close to the 90 mark. We'll probably top it out at around 92. We have 74-degree dew point. Calm winds currently. They'll shift a little more to the west. The westerly wind flow is going to strengthen as we progress through the next 24 hours or so until it firmly establishes itself. Right now, today's kind of somewhat of a transition day. 95 the heat index, though, and we are headed to a heat index of about 100 to 105 this afternoon, so it's going to be a warm, sticky day. 92, the forecast high temperature. That's what I'm going with at about 3 o'clock. About a 10% chance of showers. That's it. That's near the coastline. Inland, the chance will be a little bit greater, 40%, 50% in Hardee and DeSoto, maybe even a little higher in eastern Hardee and DeSoto and Highlands. And then as we head into the evening, I really don't see any problems at all weather-wise, except it's going to be hot and humid. Still 88 degrees by 7 p.m. And then as we head into the overnight, we'll probably drop back down into the 70s once again as we did today. So we have a few few scattered showers that have tried to build across basically east of the interstate. They're few and far between, and they're, don't last very long. They're more like drizzle than anything else, but we'll see that increase. So the red tide issues on the Suncoast still around from Siesta Key southward. That's where the majority of the red tide irritants have been reported by Mote Marine observers in the air. Gasparilla being the most intense. Other areas showing low to moderate amounts. Basically still north of Lido Key, looking pretty good. So if you are looking for a beach, I would always check to see which ones are least impacted by the red tide, but just bear in mind that the red tide comes, goes, ebbs and flows, and so if you're at a beach that's affected by the red tide, maybe just move a little further to the north and you might be in good shape. High pressure for us sinks south, and that easterly wind flow that we have had is now being replaced by a more westerly flow, which tends to favor showers over on the other coast, while our coast tends to dry out. That'll be the case over the next several days till we get a little trough of low pressure working its way in from the north. Southwest wind becoming more westerly at about 5 knots. Smooth out there on bay and inland waters. Look for a temperature of about 90 degrees for the next couple of days with a 20%. That's it. Chance of rainfall. That's the most we're going to squeeze out of this atmosphere. And then as we head into Friday and Saturday and Sunday, we'll have a little more moisture injected from the south. We'll have a trough sinking down from the north. The combination of these factors bringing us better rain chances. Incidentally, both Monday and Wednesday and Thursday will have the best chances of rain in inland areas, as I mentioned. As we head into the 4th of July holiday, our rain chances will go down a little bit. Hopefully it'll be a dry 4th of July. Scott?
All right, John, thank you. In consumer news, the 4th of July is a week from today, but sales are already well underway across the country. The best deals to look out for are bargains on clothing as retailers prepare for fall clothing lines to filter in. Outdoor equipment will also see some big markdowns, but if your focus is on the indoors, there are plenty of deals at major department stores like Macy's, Sears, and JCPenney. As for what to wait on buying, well, probably a new barbecue grill. Those will go on sale in the fall. Employees at Marriott hotels across the country are protesting today. Thousands of workers, from front desk agents to housekeepers, plan to take to the streets demanding better pay and more sexual harassment protections, among other requests. Marriott became the largest hotel company in the world last year. Facebook is done with drones. The social network giant says it will leave that sort of work to the aerospace industry. Facebook's original plan was to have drones fly over remote areas and send down free internet to people there. A drone was built by Facebook 3 years ago, and a few test flights were even performed, but the results were mixed. So Facebook now says it will join forces with other partners to create more drones that can beam internet capabilities from above. The Ringling and the Circus Arts Conservatory are putting on their 11th annual Summer Circus Spectacular at the historic Oslo Theater in Sarasota right now. Let's get over to John, who's joined by the co-founder, one of the co-founders of the Circus Arts Conservatory. John.
Ladies and gentlemen, the First Lady of Sarasota Circus, Dolly Jacobs. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. So last year, as Scott reminded me, the circus took a little summer break as it went up to Washington, D.C. in a very prestigious appearance on the Mall Lawn.
Very much so. Now
so
we're
this
back.
year you're back better than ever.
That's right.
Tell us about this year's
11th year. We have an incredible show. We have Ronaldo the clown.
Very funny guy,
He's
always.
Backed by popular demand. And we have an incredible man who does cube. He juggles this cube that's just incredible.
I saw pictures of that. Explain a little bit about what he does there.
Well, it's very light aluminum, I assume. I don't do it, so I'm not sure. But the effects with the lighting and how he spins it so fast just blows your mind.
And the incredible thing is that you're seeing all of this on the historic Oslo stage right up close and personal.
You couldn't have a better stage. And then we have Mr. and Mrs. G that do crossbow right in front of you.
I saw that. Now, what's the story there? What do they do with the crossbows?
Husband and wife.
Exactly what you'd think they do with crossbows?
They do. The one favorite part of mine is he has a wooden heart on him, and his wife shoots right to the heart. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah,
my
scary.
heart would stop. I think, wow.
And then we have Olga Coronas, who's just a ballerina in the air. She does aerial silks and just beautiful.
Something you are quite familiar with.
Just beautiful, yes, beautiful. And then Duo Fusion, which I think was just here recently, correct? A husband and wife doing hand balancing.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Amazing
So, yeah.
hand balancing.
It's an incredible show. There till July 28th.
And tickets are still available?
They are, ringling.org.
Yeah. Now, you have been doing this
They're
circus
selling out,
for-
though, sorry.
Oh, so get in there quick.
Yeah, yeah.
It is really a very fun show. And to sit in the comfy lounging
It
seats
is.
and air
It's-
conditioning and watch really just a stone's throw from them is just amazing.
Perfect.
Okay, so for tickets, go to circusarts.org and call the box office 355-9805 and get your tickets. Dolly, thanks so much
You're
for coming in
so
today.
welcome.
Any
So
other
welcome.
announcements to
Yeah,
make?
well, we have the summer camp for the campers going on. Wonderful for the kids, a great thing in the summer to do.
Space is
And
still
then-
available?
It is.
And that goes on
1
through?
week or 2 weeks. And if you go to circusarts.org, you can find out the exact dates.
Awesome.
But if you go for the 2 weeks, you get to go to see the circus spectacular show, and it's a field trip.
I know people who have been in it who said it's just outstanding.
And we also
Just
have the
best.
renovation of the arena going on, which we're at for the 4 million mark. We're at 3.6
Well, you'll have to come
million.
back and talk about that.
I will be happy
We'd love to
to.
have you anytime.
Be happy to.
Thanks for coming in today, Dolly.
Thanks, John.
Back to you, Scott.
Thank you both. Still to come in your Suncoast News, we'll check in with Judy one more time in the kitchen, and Aston Martin unveiling one of its most powerful cars yet, when it could be heading to a dealership near you.
Thank you.
What are you doing? You are the best protection she has. Buddy up. I'm Jill Harrington. Please visit helpsavethenextgirl.com and get involved.
Get to Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Sarasota for big savings on new Ram trucks. The Ram 1500 has been named a Consumer Guide Best Buy for 6 years in a row. Get an all-new redesigned 2018 Ram 1500 for as little as $21,499. Or save big and get up to $13,000 off a new Ram Bighorn Crew Cab. Better prices, bigger selection. Go to Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Sarasota.
I took my first handful of pills, and that's when all my priorities seemed to change.
He would ask to use the bathroom in other people's homes.
He just assumed that they would have medication.
He'd go in their medicine cabinets and steal prescription drugs.
I wish I knew really what these prescription pills were.
We were so naive about the whole drug thing.
These are all synthetic forms of heroin.
Keep your medication locked up because you'll never notice that a pill is gone.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish. In your face, in your face.
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Hunger is a growing problem in our area, and a huge number of Suncoast residents are suffering in silence.
It could be your coworker,
Your child's classmate.
or your friend fighting to secure their next meal. But you can help.
ABC7 is partnering with local organizations to help feed the Suncoast.
Go to mysuncoast.com/hunger to join the fight. Help us.
Help the hungry.
Thanks to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, what was once impossible is happening today for thousands of patients with blood cancer.
I live.
I live. I live. I live.
I live.
She lives.
Because of the research done by the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society in the battle against blood cancer.
If you had a chance to support the research that is saving lives, what would you do?
Always bagged. I have decided, I was at Whole Foods this morning and I ran into some wonderful men that were saying how they love our relationship on TV.
Yep.
And they think it's really fun when you get caught with a mouthful of food.
As happens most every day, it
just
seems.
Just saying, folks. I'm just saying.
I know.
You
This
eat.
is delicious.
Thank you. You eat. I'll remind you, you can get this recipe on mysuncoast.com. Go on the dining page and enter a contest to win a $50 gift certificate. And while John finishes his spring pasta, I send it over to you, Scott.
All right. Thank you, guys. In entertainment news, an upcoming movie gets a prime release date. A young actress gets a haircut, and a musical icon gets another Icon Award. Here's David Daniel with the Hollywood Minute.
So that's the guy.
Yeah, it's right up there. Some Nazi thugs jumped him. It's a miracle he survived.
I was a hell of a good artist, and now I can barely write my name. So my dolls have to tell a story.
Welcome to Marwen is based on the remarkable true story of a man who built a fantasy world to draw strength to survive the real world. Steve Carell stars in the Robert Zemeckis-directed film, which Universal is putting in the spotlight. The studio has pushed back the release date to the prime position of Christmas week.
I know who you are. You're the attorney whose family they killed.
Not they.
My father.
Isabella Moner gets caught in the drug war in Sicario, Day of the Soldado, opening Friday. The teen actress had to cut her long hair for the role, a sacrifice she learned to appreciate for a couple of reasons.
I'm glad I did it, actually. It was a great transformation. I get it now why girls do it after breakups. I get it. You change. And I was able to donate it, thankfully, to Wakes for Kids.
I've been very blessed, very fortunate.
Janet Jackson is in an icon groove. The music superstar received this year's Billboard Icon Award, and now Miss Jackson is set to be named a BMI icon at the music organization's R&B Hip Hop Awards. She'll pick up this latest prize August 30th in Atlanta. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Finally, speed junkies, take a deep breath before you see this. Wow. British sports car maker Aston Martin unveiled its most powerful car set for mass production. The Aston Martin DBS Superleggera comes with 715 horsepower engine, goes 0 to 60 in less than 3.5 seconds, and gets to a top speed of 211 miles an hour before you get arrested. Now get ready to break the bank for this one. It'll go for a little more than $300,000, but isn't it beautiful?
I can only buy one of you the car, so I don't know how we're going to decide this. Okay, deal.
Sure.
We'll leave it at my house.
That brand is one of your favorite.
Oh, I think they're just some of the most beautiful cars. Yeah, they're just timeless. Thank you so much for being with us today. We hope to have you back at 5 o'clock. Till then, enjoy the day, everyone.
Picking out a new ceiling fan? That's a do-it-yourself. Installing your new ceiling fan?
No.
That's a don't do-it-yourself. For ceiling fans, rewires, or anything electrical, play it safe. And call on the trained electricians from your locally owned Mr. Sparky. It's no accident that so many of our customers are repeat customers. Trust Mr. Sparky for all your electrical repairs.
Call 888-8-SPARKY.
You know, fortunately, this was my first job out of college, so I was able to come back home and work in my hometown. I wore two hats. I was sports director and I was a news anchor. I did that for a few years and then decided to go full-time into news. Well, I love our team here at ABC7. We have a great mix, and it really is a great mix of personalities, of experience that meshes really well into a really strong team. I'm Scott Dennis, and I'm here for you.
If you don't want to fall immediately into love, look away. If you don't want to awaken a desire for excellence, look away. If you don't want to be seduced, please look away.
Rediscover your passion for driving at Sunset Maserati Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
Designers do it with style.
Tell me what's going on here. Because
Why, you don't like my hair?
The Mark and Mandy Show. In-depth design ideas.
What is up with the tuck tape here? Let's cover it up.
Amazing beauty and fashion tips.
So Halle Berry has amazing skin. Her secret is coffee grounds.
No.
Delicious recipes.
Today, I'm gonna show you a special dish that is sure to please that special someone in your life.
Watch the Mark and Mandy Show right here on your favorite channel.
All right, crew, let's get started. Sure.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Get breaking news alerts focused on the Suncoast. Download the ABC7 News app.